All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Aloha Press podcast and YouTube show. I'm JC, joined today with my co-host Jeff out in Amador City. Then we got Ben Smithers back in for a recap of the U.S. Open. Gentlemen, I'm going to start with Jeff. How's it going, buddy?
It's going well. I'm a little tired, but I'm excited to talk about some golf and see if we can go for 3 hours today. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe we got to put a time limit on. I mean, at some point in time, I have to edit this thing, and we have a tendency to talk a lot, and we're also joined with Ben. Ben, what's going on, buddy? How's it going?
We've got to wrap it up in time for Jeff to get to his shifts when he scrubs. So, but no, doing well. Obviously, always good to come off of a major championship weekend. So just kind of wish that there was another one this weekend. But hey, whatever.
It's the greatest and like the worst and best thing about 2020 is that in the short span of like this weird pandemic, and then we skipped everything, then rolled into major championship golf. I mean, we had the PGA, then the U.S. Open, and now we're forecasting. We've got the Masters and then the Masters. So I'm pretty pumped up about it. But let's get into the U.S. Open recap at Winged Foot. It was challenging. Let's just say there was a lot of guys at the top of the leaderboard who, the three of us probably did not want anywhere near that top of the leaderboard. To include Jeff, I mean, your boy. I mean, Miss Tappy Tap, chirping at his own golf ball in the air. I mean, your boy was in the mix. I mean, Matthew Wolff at 5 under on Sunday thought he had a chance. I mean, what the hell happened?
Did you guys see on Saturday how many times he tapped around the fucking hole? I mean, he was on fire. He tapped. Yeah, he did probably tap 300 times. We did not have the best finishing groups that we wanted to watch. Obviously, our guys were out of it and not playing too well. But I can say that I was very pleased with the outcome. I would have picked Bryson DeChambeau over Matt Wolff all day. So it wasn't all bad in the end.
It truly wasn't. I think the unique thing about this year's U.S. Open, we did not have any fans, and I think that played into it a little bit. But the best golfer of all 4 days went out there and won a championship. And Bryson, give him credit. I talk a lot of shit about him. If he was sitting with us in our little threesome here, I'd probably talk shit to him. I don't give a shit how big he is. I don't give a shit how far he fucking hits the ball. Particular guy who has a great USGA record, and he just kind of shut the door on all the chatter of this whole gain 40 pounds and just drive and gouge the golf ball. And I think he did an excellent job of stacking on 40 pounds when he needed to fight through some of that rough. And some of the skinnier guys out there, I won't get into too many names, just couldn't hack it. I mean, Ben, no one picked Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, we ran 3 different contests for the U.S. Open to build our, email subscribers, our YouTube subscribers, and Instagram subscribers. And at 0 point, no one picked Bryson DeChambeau. And it's something that you and I talked about on the Friday show.
Pretty clear in a way, right? I mean, it's you beat the field by 6 shots at a major. You're on especially a venue like Winged Foot. You're definitely doing your work. What I'll say is, and you got to take your hat off to that. One of my favorite things about the weekend, though, was the announcing crew deciding to basically call out all weekend long, like, Bryce is not really hitting it that long. I mean, Matt Wolff's out here hitting it by him. So that was always one of my favorite things, because they kept talking about how big and bulked up he was, but yet the announcers were like, not that much.
I completely agree, and it was something that Bryson DeChambeau, truly, he was not the longest player in the field this week. Dustin Johnson, Matthew Wolff, Taylor Pendrith, whoever the hell that is, John Rahm, Joaquin Niemann, Rory McIlroy, and then you finally get to Bryson DeChambeau. And the scary thing is Paul Casey averaged 324 yards off the tee, like half a yard behind Bryson. So clearly he's not the only guy out there hitting it a long ways. I just think that going back to the last year's PGA Championship, when Brooks Koepka essentially, had the body shape to go out there, hit it a super long ways, but then had the actual physical attributes to power through, the 6-inch rough. And it's something that we talked about, the USGA being able to control the rough. it just appeared that no one gave a shit about hitting fairways. And it was kind of a shock. And Jeff, what was your takeaway with, these guys just clearly not giving a fuck about hitting fairways?
Well, a few things, because obviously the rough was nasty, right? It was thick. But Bryson and those guys, they hit the ball so far that, they're hitting 8 irons 200 yards. It's a lot easier to hit 8 iron out of the rough than what we'd been hitting a 5 iron. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that's one thing. But then the other thing is they didn't dry those greens out like I thought they would. They were nothing like the Arnold Palmer Invitational, where it sounded like they were hitting fucking cement and you could not hold it from the rough. They could still get the ball on the green from the rough this week. And they were stopping it, one hopping, stopping it from the fairway. So still only one guy was under par, so they knew what they were doing. But had they let them dry out a little bit more, it might have got fucking nasty.
The golf course could, in my opinion, it was bad. There was only a few guys. I don't think there was anyone under par on Sunday. That golf course could have gotten, except Bryson, clearly.
Okay.
But I think the USGA could have absolutely pushed that golf course even a step further when it comes to drying the greens out, using the sub air to suck all the moisture out. It appeared like they were getting kind of burnt out, but there was not that purple tint or that blue tint that they talk about on the actual Pomona surfaces, and you just weren't hearing it. I mean, they had mics all over the place, and it just wasn't as loud as Shinnecock. Or was fucking putting on glass. So I don't know where I was going with that, but course setup, Ben. I mean, this is a major championship, and it just seemed like they were able to control it for everyone else except Bryson, and it was an impressive. I mean, it was impressive finish, to say the least, with Bryson.
Yeah, no doubt. And to your point, right, the greens didn't have that kind of U.S. Open shine that they normally do, where you can almost see the footprints because they get kind of shiny when people are stepping on them. What I would say is golf course setup wise, I mean, I think it was probably plenty hard enough. I think that you did get that factor where I think people were going back and saying, hey, winners have only hit 40% of these fairways out here anyway. Why even focus on hitting fairways when it's going to be that hard to hit them anyway? Just let's go head it down there. Let's go find it. Let's hit it again. And I think that probably a different strategy than what had been done in previous U.S. Opens there. Obviously produced a different result, but I still think that the USGA played it a little bit on the safe side, which, I mean, to be fair, they get roasted almost every year at the U.S. Open because they push it too far. So kudos to them to some degree of letting the golf course kind of play itself out. I would have liked to have seen them get a little bit more crispy with the greens, and then also on Thursday, maybe not have the setup be as soft as it was, which allowed whatever it was, however many people under par. I think hurt the Open early.
I agree, and I think their excuse was kind of bullshit. I mean, they said that they were worried about getting those guys around the golf course because they couldn't find their golf ball in rough that was that deep. We'll see. I mean, another U.S. Open is going to be here, rather quickly, and they're going to have to make some changes. But ultimately, Jeff, was Bryson DeChambeau winning the U.S. Open and really satisfying the haters, again, to include myself, of his style golf? I mean, are you going to see 14-year-old kids putting on the fucking protein and getting into the gym and lifting, deadlifting 400 pounds to hit the ball as far as he does?
I absolutely think you are going to see that trend. And a lot because Bones was promoting it. Bones said on the live broadcast Sunday, if you're a kid, you're a youngster getting into golf, he recommends swinging as hard as you can, getting into that mentality. And that's the new way of golf. But here's the thing. Like you said, Bryson didn't hit it the farthest this week. He might hit some irons farther than the other guys, but that fucking guy made putts when he needed to that everybody else was missing. That was a lot of it. He 2-putted from everywhere. I mean, I heard you guys on the live show talking about breaking 80. There's no fucking way I could break 80 there. There's no way. I would 3-putt fucking 17 of 18 greens. That place is no joke on the greens.
I didn't want to say it without you being able to defend yourself. That would have been nice.
There's just no way. I mean, you know how much I struggle on fucking Poppy Hills greens.
Yeah.
And there's no way I could putt on those greens.
On any one good thing though, I guess you do like to leave putts short, and I don't know if you could do that much at Winged Foot. So you have that going for you.
There's some highlights of the week that we touched on. Let's get into some of our picks. I clearly can pick guys who are going to miss the cut. Kevin Kisner definitely did not have the spectacular finish that I thought he would. Him and Phil and Tiger were battling for dead last on Friday. Jeff, it seemed like you picked the guy. I mean, early it just seemed like he kind of peaked.
Yeah, I mean, he's a double bogey away on 18 on Sunday from being in the top 5. He played well. He battled. He's got a lot of rage in him, which I love. I mean, he made some type of comment that he wanted to break everything in sight at one point during his round. Reminds me a lot of my brother at times. Except for my brother would break everything. But my picks were okay. I mean, besides Rahm, my guys did fine.
Yeah, I mean, I thought JT played well. I mean, it was almost a top 5 finish. I mean, he made the top 10, which is key. I think he's moving in the right direction, especially coming up the Masters. But Ben, let's get into some of your picks, buddy. I
didn't have anybody not make the cut. I can say that. All of my guys did not miss the cut. One of them didn't play in the golf tournament, but that's another story with Jim Furyk. So that's a poor pick on my point there.
Well, the good news is you picked a guy who continues to just bring drama. Patrick Reed, I mean, you're in the final group on a Saturday and you're not playing particularly well. And then you are seen again patting down the fucking rough behind your golf ball again. Like, what are you doing, right? Like, what is this fucking guy thinking?
You ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right?
Fuck, Jesus. But the one cool thing that I saw and heard was, yes, this might have been a fanless event, but I don't know who the particularly wealthy spectators were that had the ability to, just build grandstands in their fucking backyard, but they were fucking chirp at him about him being a fucking cheater and seeing if his caddy was carrying a shovel around, which was, in my opinion, which was awesome.
I think it was Rick Pitino who had his own issues with cheating scandal in his life. So, hey, respect.
Fucking join the company.
I was going to say, Rick sitting behind the third green there probably wasn't talking too much.
So, I mean, a couple other things. Jeff, you brought up on the U.S. Open show, we, thought someone might break some clubs. And we all kind of made half-assed predictions about who was going to, mix it up. And there was a particular individual who was not seen on television. And it took a guy from another podcast, YouTube show that tweeted out that he had heard rumors about a particular player, fucking Danny Lee, doing some questionable things on the 18th green on Saturday. Jeff, what was your reaction to a guy 6-putting?
So that was when I saw the headlines, right? And then I went to go watch the video. I thought he legitimately 6-putted. He was just being a little bitch, right? He was being a fucking crybaby, and he was tapping it back and forth, not trying. And then he withdraws with the Tony Romo injury. His wrist hurts and loses out on $30, $40, $50,000, even if he would have got last place. He still shot 78 with a fucking 6-putt. I mean,
he was, I'm pretty sure he was tied for like 34th, even with the 6-putt, and had an opportunity to walk away with $67,000. But instead, he and his caddy decided to carry out $25,000. And this is something I wanted to get into real quick. But if you withdraw from throwing a hissy fit, okay, and just shitting down your leg because you're embarrassed on television, which, by the way, they did not fucking show. Golf Channel the following morning had to show it. You should be fucking DQ'd. You should not have the opportunity to withdraw. You should not be able to collect $2,500 or $25,000. If you're going to throw a fucking hissy fit, you should be fucking kicked out, right?
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, if you have an NFL player, let's just give a really poor example. Aaron Rodgers, okay? If he tees off on someone at the American Century Classic and breaks his putter and it causes a scene, I'm assuming Green Bay is going to have a fucking issue, right?
I don't want to be a PR guy.
Hey, my thing is this. How does this caddy let that happen? I don't know if I'd go Ray Lewis and tackle his ass before he could even finish that 6-putt, or sock him in the face and tell him to carry his own bag to the car. Like, That's ridiculous.
I completely agree. The 10% would have been worth it. Me knocking that guy out. Like, and that'd have been great television, by the way. Like, he's 6 putts, tees off in his golf bag. Okay, throws his putter down like he's throwing a hissy fit, and the caddy just comes out of third, out of right field and just fucking takes him out. Like on the gravel cart path, like them wrestling around in front of the golf shop, just beating the shit out of each other. Like that would have been entertaining. That would have been worth showing on television, right?
Well, Ben, I was going to ask you this because I don't know anything about Danny Lee. I don't know if he's a hothead, if he's a rager like that. I wouldn't think so. Is that normal for him?
No, I don't think so. I mean, he's a guy that, probably doesn't get shown on TV very much. So I don't think many people know much about him. I mean, not that he plays bad. He's just one of those guys that they don't put on television, right? It's not exactly a marketing dream. He's just kind of blah.
He is now.
Yeah, until now.
Found his way into the spotlight. But then again, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things, the moment gets the best of everybody at some point in time. I mean, you saw Phil do it a year ago, right? Running after a ball, running off the green. So Phil also threw a fucking hissy fit in front of the reporters too and tried to fucking cover it up. So, which one's worse? I don't know. At least Phil, I don't know.
It does.
Phil played terrible.
Phil, and that was a discussion several weeks ago. We talked about Phil being cut from the podcast YouTube show. Jeff, I mean, is it official? I mean, he missed the cut.
The rule was if he made the cut, he could stick around, and he did not even come close to making the cut, so he's done.
Well, I completely agree. And if we would have been like, okay, he fucking, whatever, had the fucking giant misses, totally understandable. But the picture he posted on fucking Twitter and Instagram, him cuddling up with the fucking pillows, right then and there, I was like, I'm done, Phil. I'm fucking done. Go to the Champions Tour, okay, with Jim Furyk, okay? Go play last year's fucking U.S. Open course, and you're done. You're just fucking absolutely done. It just I was completely disappointed, disgraced, and I felt like giving him like a wet willy, him laying on that fucking couch.
Hey, speaking of Jim Furyk, Ben, I think that obviously he didn't make the cut in our tournament, and that was one of our bets for a bottle.
I'm not going to live this one down, am I?
No.
But the fact that the guy won in a playoff at Pebble Beach this week and we didn't even know what was going on, and he's a supporter of Next Belt, like JC's got the giveaway going this week, I think we just call it a wash.
So wait, he won this week? I didn't pay attention.
You picked the fucking winner.
Yeah.
Write that shit down.
Like, he won the 2019 U.S. Open course at Pebble Beach.
I mean, I'm telling you, he was good enough to make the cut. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I mean, Ben, you've got the fucking magic stick. I mean, I think you just move off the PGA Tour. You be the Aloha Press, Champions Tour, just analyst and
Correspondent.
Yeah, your correspondent.
Oh no.
Hey, so who won the belt? That was a pretty good looking belt you had.
Random draw for the next belt. You had to essentially tag a friend, like it, do all these certain things that I didn't know how to do. Shout out to Oliver over at Off the Deck who kind of set up the contest for us. At KEVSD3, Mr. Kevin Varlick has won the next belt. So if you were listening to this, which I think you should have to, send in your email and we'll get your contact information and we will make sure the next belt has your belt on the way. So really appreciate Tom over at Next Belt giving us a product to promote our brand and also the U.S. Open. So really cool of them and appreciate them as a sponsor. So
if Kevin doesn't listen, does he not get the belt?
So the crazy thing about this fucking there was over 500 people who fucking entered this contest.
Nice.
It was incredible.
We should have made it like when you listen to the radio contest. You got 5 minutes, or you got to listen to the show. Fucking email you, and then watch out for my mic, hot mic, and or it goes to somebody else.
I think we're gonna have to work on our contest. This was a good run. There was a couple, things that I didn't particularly plan for, but we'll get to those.
I've only got one more thing to say about the U.S. Open that caught my attention. Where we talk about the no fans every week.
Yes,
but even with the guys that we didn't really want to be in the final group playing on Sunday, had there been fans there, especially for that like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 stretch of holes for Bryson and Matt Wolff when they're both making eagles, I think it would have been a pretty fucking good tournament to watch and a lot of excitement, but there was just nothing.
It's tough to get real pumped up when you when you got no like real feeling. Watching the 2006 Wingfoot with Phil and fucking Jeff Ogilvy and all these guys. I mean, it had an atmosphere that you could feel the energy, and even knowing that it was in the past, I mean, you still felt that. You felt the excitement. You could see the shit that players could hit. I mean, to include people and fucking tents, and it just seemed like, another fucking USGA, amateur event. Ben, you're shaking your head. What do you got, buddy?
It did actually feel like a USGA amateur event, right? I mean, to be fair, I mean, that's the sad part about it all is I think that there is that element that you have to navigate with your nerves in the U.S. Open, and I think that you don't see. I'll say it at this event. I don't think I would have said it at PGA as much with Colin Morikawa, but I think that without the fans here at the U.S. Open, I think it affected the championship big time on who wins, who loses, that kind of stuff. I don't know. The result of who won might have been the same, but I think that people like, Matt Wolff, first time in that arena, would have been different.
I completely agree. And the one thing that I want to wrap up with this is Bryson has won a couple times after the pandemic and all this shit that hit, and it seems like he's had a few confrontations. And I'm not taking anything away or adding an asterisk to this particular U.S. Open, but the motherfucker doesn't have to deal with fans. And if you're chirping at cameraman and your fucking caddy's trying to run over camera guys and you're getting arguments with fucking rules officials, there's players out. They're not players. There's fans out there. They're gonna have the ability to get into your head, and I don't know if Bryson has the ability to fucking handle that.
Not to mention, that's a New York crowd. That New York crowd's the worst one of them all, right? I mean, those are the guys it basically made Sergio cry in whatever that was, 2002 at that page. So, I mean, you gotta, yeah, I think that all the things that you would have seen come out earlier this year where, he was yelling at a camera guy and stuff like that, there would have been plenty of commentary about that out there on the golf course. Like, New York fans would have ridden in pretty good. So, definitely has, plays into the outcome, which is unfortunate to some degree because I think it, changes history.
I agree. And to wrap it up, guys, you just win the U.S. Open. Okay, you've got the trophy. You got some. I don't know what the medal means, but you're doing all these interviews and you're going to the media room to finally get your final interview, and some asshole pours you a freaking cup of chocolate milk. What the hell was that about?
I didn't see that.
I did not see that either.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was the most ridiculous thing in the world. Big, tall glass of chocolate milk. I'm like, are you freaking kidding? Did he just go get a workout in? Are you serious? Like, he just won the U.S. Open. He's really going to be, he's going to be doing bench press later this evening. It's just just playing into the bullshit. Like, have a cocktail like every normal golfer would. You just won the biggest tournament of your life. And you got what? Like, who's on the fucking side of the milk carton? Is it Foster Farms now? Is that now your fucking branding? You sound like a NASCAR driver half the time anyways. His closing speech was ridiculous.
I'm Ricky Bobby. Big Red, America's #1 cinnamon gum. If you don't chew this shit, you got something wrong with your head. Chew Big Red or get out of my face, motherfucker. I'm Ricky Bobby. People used to call me Big Red, but I told them stop it, because there's only one Big Red, America's #1 cinnamon gum. What? What'd you say? That's what I thought.
Okay, you just want take the trophy, smile, okay? Go do another push-up and stop driving me fucking crazy. And wear a normal hat, okay?
Already had to hear them talk about how he's going to start testing 48-inch drivers this week so he can start to hit it even further. Bullshit.
We've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Rory McIlroy, after Bryson takes the victory, he made some comments about how Bryson is currently taking advantage of the rules that are in place, like the fixed arm putter, the single length irons, some of the technology are behind it. I mean, Jeff, what is your takeaway on some of these Rory's comments?
Well, I read it in the the email, I didn't see him say this stuff, but I think it's ridiculous. He's within the rules. He's doing whatever he wants to do. He's trying different shit. Let him do it until they tell him he can't do it. It's good with me.
I agree. So in wrapping up the U.S. Open recap 2020, I mean, good for you, Bryson. I would love to see you trying to take down Brooks Koepka when there's 200,000 fans screaming at you in a setting. So